Dun, 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 dun. Hello and welcome to I Know You're Listening, the internet show where we talk about. Oh man, I never have a good line for this. We talk about fun, just any sort of nerd ephemera. We're gonna be hitting the big one today, Star Wars stuff.
Finally, a YouTube video where white guys talk about Star Wars stuff.
It had to happen eventually. My name is Johnny Blaze.
I'm Ben Hooper.
Joined today by our good friend Brescian Miller. From what state are you in this time?
It's New Jersey.
Still New Jersey. You can never escape. I am in favor of a moat that goes across Indiana and Ohio. If I'm ever king of Michigan, I would probably do that. Vote for me.
Politics in Star Wars?
It's never happened. George Lucas has put zero politics in Star Wars. It's all Disney. When they put women and black people in Star Wars, which were also never in there, there's never been anything woke in Star Wars.
Right. The word empire was invented by Star Wars. It does not represent an entire political regime.
Yeah, empire, it's one of those funny Star Wars words that George Lucas just made up.
It was pretty fucked up how the Nazis ripped off the uniforms.
Well, today we're talking about not Andor, what is that could?
Endor.
We're talking about Endor. Oh my god, that's
Different
so good.
vowel door.
Yeah. Where everyone is talking about the big important thing of the moment, we're talking about the little forgotten about thing that relates.
In a galaxy far, far away, a brother and sister search for their missing parents.
How are we gonna find them?
We will, don't worry.
And fate leads them to the magical Ewoks.
We help you.
Sheer enchantment and excitement, says the Hollywood Reporter. Don't miss the Ewok Adventure, now on video cassette from MGM UA Home Video.
There's a fun Venn diagram that's going on right now. On one hand, we have Andor, and on the other hand, we have Willow. The Willow requel is coming out soon, so this is right in the middle of that Venn diagram is...
Hashtag Warrick Davis.
1985's Star Wars Caravan of Courage starring Warwick Davis. What George Lucas did after Return of the Jedi, he started doing these TV movies for a few years. And wow, what a product.
There are two of them.
Caravan of Courage, if for the uninitiated, is the story of a family of humans crash landing on Endor and dying horribly. Sorry to spoil it for you. Tune in next week for our next...
No, Caravan of Courage, they spend the whole movie not dying horribly, and it's only undone in the first 5 minutes of the next one.
I actually strongly recommend being aware of that fact while watching this movie. It makes it very grim.
Well, this actually does fit pretty nicely into Star Wars if you consider that it's not meant to be taken literally. This is the Ewoks version of Return of the Jedi, as told through the Ewok oral storytelling tradition down several generations. Burl Ives' narration is basically just translated from Ewok. When they met Luke and Leia and co in Return of the Jedi, they're like, "Oh, Leia, we love her. She's a beautiful princess. She's like an adorable child." And now this motherfucker over here with his mouth and his bullshit and something about being a brother. That's how it all boiled down. And then in the second movie, you got Wilford Brimley and his weird little speedy raccoon thing as Han and Chewie. And the evil witch is their conception of Darth Vader they never met.
I think your theory is pretty sound. It definitely feels like it could be the Star Wars story, just like having been butchered by oral tradition for generations.
Yeah,
and then
taken through a filter.
For what canon is to be had from this, I've seen this takes place 3 years after New Hope, which is basically when Empire Strikes Back takes place.
So we're supposed to believe that the Ewoks already had a bunch of human friends and knew them when they met some new guys and decided to eat them. My other canon question is, do you think that the Burl Ives narration makes this technically part of the Rankin Bass Christmas Special Cinematic Universe.
Our story begins in a time long, long ago, deep in an enchanted forest on the distant moon of Endor. Christmas tree forest. Yep, here's where we grow 'em. Nice place to live, you know. Christmas seals. Of course, the number one citizens up here are the Clauses.
I did feel right at home once I heard the narration. I'm like, the 80s, you know?
Yeah, it brings something warm to an 80s child's heart to just hear Burlap's going, and over here.
It was like, and so they walked along a little more, and the narration wasn't even always helpful. It's just like, oh, we haven't had eyes in here in a few minutes, let's put him in here.
Definitely feel, well, it makes it very like fable-y, and I think that works for a kids program.
Yeah, no, totally.
And so to Vin's point, I wouldn't consider them in the same universe, but if there was like a box set of like 6 VHSs, this should be in there, you know. The original trilogy has the ability to lift outside of the 70s and 80s. It touches on some eternal things. Caravan of Courage is 1984 as hell. You know, it is so
it's 1984 TV.
And so I feel that it's easy to dismiss it of the times. And I don't. Will we feel that way about the other spinoffs? You know, if they don't have their own longevity. You know, if they don't connect back to the main world.
I somehow think Rogue One's gonna last longer than Caravan or age better than Caravan of Courage, but I think you're right.
I feel like Book of Boba Fett already felt like it aged and was out of date 2 weeks before it aired. That show looks like shit. It sucks.
In this day and age of Star Wars, like Star Wars wasn't even like really Star Wars yet. It was just like 3 random ass movies that had a really good selling toy line. And then you know, you didn't this was even still before the prequels. There were barely any novels. Basically all of the expanded universe novels, not even that shit had come out yet. You had like Splinter of the Mind's Eye and like the novelizations, and that was it. Like most of those the novels we know as the expanded universe, that was like 90s. This is more like Splinter of the Mind's Eye than the expanded universe novel stuff of like, we're still not sure what Star Wars is. We're still kind of figuring it out. Could we do like a Goldilocks Heidi ripoff using Star Wars aesthetics? Will that play?
Right.
Kind of. We won like a daytime Emmy, but you know, nobody liked it. The expanded universe novels and then the prequels really germinated what Star Wars is today and what Disney is kind of utilizing, what they're taking from the old days.
There were like expanded universe, and then there was expanded universe, because they had their novels that were largely, these are all set together. Splinter of the Mind's Eye, like you said, was not.
Yeah,
that was just an alternate timeline thing.
That was if Star Wars bombed.
That was the cheap
Empire,
sequel.
what the sequel would have been. But when Star Wars was a hit, they could make whatever they want. So why would we make this silly little book? So what I'm saying is Disney needs to get Sindel into the Disney universe somehow. Would she be an old woman in the Force Awakens era?
I was pushing real hard for Sindel to turn out to be Rey, just to ruin everything. Like all the different people Rey could be. What's the worst answer?
So she would be about 37 years old for Force Awakens. She could be one of the First Order officers. Oh God, maybe Sindel's Captain Phasma. There is actually a Sindel appearance in the expanded universe novels.
That's right.
She's a reporter on Coruscant in like a random like New Republic novel. There was another novel that like referred to like Ewok media after, and this was like well after Return of the Jedi, and how Ewoks were watching a show about a little girl lost on Endor. So Caravan of Courage could be a movie within the Star Wars universe, or a hollow show within the Star Wars universe. Oh, one thing I wanted to bring up with Caravan of Courage and all this Ewok Endor stuff is my first exposure to a lot of this was from the role-playing games. Because they brought in like the Gorexes and that fucking dog beast that Phil Tippett made for this movie. That I love that stop motion style of Phil Tippett. Like that creature was in one of the source books. The Gorex was in the source book. Some of the monsters from the sequel. Just they had to fill out enemies for Star Wars campaigns, and so
were there tent horses in the source book?
It was like
Was
literally every
just a regular gecko, literally just an earth lizard,
just a llama, just like some sort of alpaca llama.
Western North American owl.
One thing that I want to make sure to touch on is how often in this film you hear Ewoks exclaim, "Yub Nub," and it makes me happy every time.
I love Yub Nub.
I go, Yub Nub! And I'm like, Yub Nub, motherfucker!
Yub Nub. I want to get that tattooed across my fingers. That's probably my least favorite change from the special edition, from the original Star Wars to the special edition, is the somber new song at the end of Jedi. I don't like it. Nobody's dancing to it. I miss Yub Nub. Everybody was dancing to Yub Nub. Clearly, that's what's playing in real life for them, and it goes with the they're hilariously bonking on stormtrooper skulls. I love it, and I like kind of the dichotomy of maybe it is supposed to be a little somber, but they chose not to, and that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And I think going back and making it somber was like, you made a really great choice, but then you went back and you just did the easy thing for some reason because it's the 90s and Yub Nub is a little cringe. But I miss Yub Nub. Bring it back in special edition too.
Give Grogu an adorable little Walkman that he's always listening to Yub Nub on.
I wanted Max Rebo and Book of Boba to be playing like his cover of Yub Nub. I'm giving you a lot of free advertisement right now. Nobody would have heard of Willow if it weren't for us.
Because one thing Star Wars has done, and Caravan of Courage all the way to Andor, it shows that, is it recognized, hey, who are our real fans in 1981 when this movie is coming out? The 6-year-olds. Let's make them toys, and now let's make them a movie. And so the spin-offs and the extra universe has grown up with us because they recognized, let's get them while they're young. So in high school-ish age, you're reading the extended novels. And now that we're all adults getting closer to middle age, we've got stuff like single dad Mandalorian, you've got stuff like all the themes and the tropes are fitting of older. And I feel like that's something Disney has always done, just as Disney. And they said, hey, Star Wars could do that. Let's chomp and merge.
They've hit millennial post-dad entertainment. They're hitting it hard with the Star Wars film stuff. Bad Batch is also a post-dad show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Andor is like a millennial just trying to survive show.
That's very, like, plotted like Game of Thrones almost.
We're looking at the beginning and end of a 30, 50 almost year franchise. And so you can't do that without pointing out what has happened in narrative fiction storytelling.
I can't wait for the total Star Wars reboot when they remake New Hope. That'll happen. Maybe in our lifetime, maybe not. Disney, in the meantime, has bought two of the most powerful entertainment and popular, not just powerful, popular entertainment brands on the face of the earth. We're talking about one and Ben's wearing the other.
Oh, hey.
You're both wearing
Johnny
the
Blaze
other.
didn't get the goddamn X-Men t-shirt memo. Way to ruin the dress code.
I saw that mine couldn't be seen, and I didn't see. Now he's upset.
Okay. We're all Marvel here talking about Star Wars. That's just the quality you get from I Know You're Listening is we're just all a bunch of Disney cucks here, just a bunch of Disney simps.
SJW wokest.
We're all woke for Disney.
We liked all these Disney properties before they were Disney cool.
That's true. We are hipsters about it. We liked Star Wars and Marvel before Disney bought them.
I loved these dumb franchises for babies before they were owned by the giant corporation for babies.
I did not have a awake Mickey when I watched this.
Dad.
Alert, major
Dad.
bag alert, major.
So I'm curious to watch now that I know of it. Like, what does a 1.5-year-old think of this movie? Because a movie,
I think at least in like a couple of years, she'd probably love it. It's teddy bear adventure.
yeah,
Couple
but,
scaly parts.
yeah. So I was just like, as I look at child age properties now, I think about them completely different. Her Aladdin is new Aladdin. Her Aladdin is not my Aladdin. She has seen both Aladdins, but her Aladdin is Will Smith Genie, and that's just the way the world is. I don't get a say in that. I'm glad I like it. I'm glad I approve of it. I think it's a great.
So she prefers the live action to cartoon Aladdin?
Correct. She likes the cartoon too, but
I'm
specifically,
gonna sit this 1.5-year-old down and demand that she answer my questions.
but I think it is because they gave Jasmine more songs, and Mickey,
Sure.
for whatever reason, likes it when brown girls sing. So
Sure.
does that mean she has a future? I don't know, but she likes it.
She's like goals.
Rishan, are you saying that kids appreciate when they see people who look like them in media?
Yes.
That's wow.
Yes.
That's
It's kind of fascinating that there was no mystery at all.
and that's something I do appreciate with Disney, and I don't think they're doing it to be good people. I think they're doing it because
I think they're doing it to make money.
Yeah, it'll sell Disney Plus subscriptions. Nobody here in this circle thinks Disney is some woke corporation who are the paragons of leftist virtue.
Yes.
No.
Famous communist company, the Walt Disney Corporation.
Famously, worker-owned, heavily unionized Disney. It's basically a co-op, famously. It sometimes cool, cultural things have financial incentive, but sometimes they don't, and sometimes they won't. And so it's just important to, point that out, when it comes up. I was thinking it's like they'll never make Indiana Jones non-white because only white people fucking steal artifacts.
Right.
No, woke Indiana Jones would be like, it belongs in a museum of its country of origin.
Right.
It belongs in a queer-owned museum in a black neighborhood.
Non-profit. It's got to be a non-profit.
Hey, you got your politics.
Yeah, Star Wars, and this is probably the only time Star Wars and non-profit have ever been in the same sentence or paragraph. But anything else about Caravan of Courage? Anything else about Andor? And
Andor, super good so far. Probably might be my favorite live-action Star Wars thing since first season of Mandalorian.
But it is very good, and it's very good for very different reasons.
Yeah,
so.
It's a very different show from any of the shows they've done so far, but in a very cool way.
Yeah, it's not just more of Mandalorian and good. It's not good because why the Mandalorian is good. It's good for its own reasons. Hey, this is a season finale also. I didn't bring it up at the top, but this is our season 1 I Know You're Listening finale. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs this past 6 months. This has been a massive experiment on my editing skills, my coordinating skills, my work ethic. So But I do have ideas about a season 2, a lot of kind of taking the ideas we did this season and expanding them, more reviews, more guests, returning guests. I want to hire an editor. I don't hate editing, but it's I don't want to do all of it, and I want to be able to do more. I'm going to be shopping around season 1, showing to people like, hey, I did this. Could you help me do more of this and better of this? And we'll see where I get. And I think at the very latest, we'll just do season 2 at the same time period next year, spring through summer, ending about Halloween time. Ben, you've been a wonderful co-host. I really appreciate you sticking with me and helping me coordinate everything. Brishan,
You have also been a co-host.
I don't thrive and live and breathe on validation, not even a little.
Well, I do, so thank you for your kind words.
No problem, Ben. Rishan, you're an awesome guest. It's good to have you. Joe and Fallon and Elena were also wonderful guests. I really like having another person kind of in the mix. Although I also just like talking with Ben too. So we'll have both types will be coming back.
And you out there, the titular you whom art listening, you've been a great audience.
Great audience, great co-hosts, great topics, great idea, Johnny. Good thinking. Join us for season 2. Have a very spooky Halloween. Come back next time, like and subscribe.
Oh no,
guys! The show, it's coming back! It's coming back for a second time! We have to do an outro! The show won't die! Quick! I'm Johnny Blaze!
And I'm Ben Hooper!
I'm Brishan Miller.
Okay, we outroed again. Now maybe the show will die.